do live on the lots that are sized from 5,000 to 7,200 square feet. For example, the downtown, the section of homes that are older in the original downtown area, there are several families through that area who have chickens and feel that their lot size could accommodate more, but they fall right under that 7,200 square foot mark. So that would be my only change to what the Planning Commission has asked. And those people aren't here tonight, but I did promise that I would make that point for them.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And there's actually, this is a study session, so we won't be voting tonight on this, and they'll have an opportunity to come back in a public hearing and share their views on that.
Thank
you. Is there anybody else who'd like to comment? All right. Is there any feedback? Councilmember Spivey.
Great, thank you, Mayor. I do know some folks in town that have chickens, and also friends in other communities on the east side that have chickens. And one year or two ago, I found it interesting that one of the most popular classes offered in the city of Seattle was raising chickens in the urban environment, to where it was standing room only or sell out or whatever. And every time they posted another class, it would fill up. They just couldn't host enough of them for teaching the chicken 101, if you will. So I think this is a good thing, and typical family does go through eggs, even if it's not just for breakfast. It's baking the cookies, or this time of year the cookies and the cakes for the holidays and birthday cakes. It's just there's eggs in just about every baking product that you have out there, and again for breakfast and other meals, and just also it gets us back to keeping people grounded, working with the birds and doing those things. And it's I hate to say it, but it's away from video games and things like that. And it's just a great thing for families and people to be involved with. So I'll be very supportive of this.
I lived on a farm for a summer, and I appreciate why we don't allow roosters, because they get up not just at dawn, but all throughout the night, and it's very loud. Deputy Mayor Freed.
I'm trying to think of every pun possible to try to say right now, like quit pecking on the people who play video games. I don't know. So roosters, I'm all about not having roosters. So when I was growing up, I had to go out every morning and get the eggs from our chicken coop, and I would go out there and I'd get attacked by that rooster on a constant basis. It was a jump on me and attack me, and I would have to fight him off and get the eggs and go take him in. And every morning I complained to my mom and complained to my dad that this rooster had to be done in. And so my mom finally was going out there, and she'd get them and complain about the rooster. My dad just, he kept coming back and say, "Don't worry about it, just man up. There's just a little rooster, just push him aside." Well, one day my dad was out working on the tractor on his hands and knees, and the rooster was out, free-range chicken, right? And went out and latched into my dad's back, and my dad threw that rooster off of his back. The rooster did it in the house, got the shotgun, pulled out the shotgun, aimed at the rooster, shot, and missed it. Finally, he got the rooster, but the rooster was gone. So as of just 5 months ago, I had probably 100 chickens at my house. Maybe not everybody knows that. If I was out of conformance, I don't care. I had roosters and chickens and pigs all growing up throughout my life at the Freed Farm. I enjoyed it. I think they were a great amenity to have around. Farms are on the outs in these urban areas, but I think it's great to have the responsibility that I learned as a kid to have chickens. They're very minimal impact as long as you don't have a loud rooster. So I'm certainly in favor of this. I just wonder if it's enough, but I think it's certainly a good start. So I appreciate you bringing this forward, and I appreciate all those folks here in the audience that had commented and worked on this over the last year or so. That's an important thing. So I'm in favor.
Thank you. I look forward to this coming back, and I think if we need to refine, we'll listen to some public testimony. If we need to refine some of the numbers at that time, we can. But I wanted to also take a moment to thank the members of the public, because it's one of the neat things about democracy is that you have an opportunity to come forward and to suggest ideas. And a lot of times people say the council needs to listen to people, and this is an idea that did not come from the council. It came directly from the people of the city of Bothell, and you guys worked very, very hard on this, and it's exciting to see this become a step closer to becoming law in our city. So thank you for your work on that, and thank you for participating in our democracy here in Bothell. So without any additional comments, Bruce, we'll look forward to seeing that come back.
Thank you.
Oh, Deputy Mayor Freed.
I did have one question, and I do care, so that was kind of a callous statement. But I want to make sure that I was grandfathered in. I believe many other farms are grandfathered into the amount of animals and activities in a zone. So will this affect the grandfathering in of other farms or you?
Well, a couple things. One is that the Planning Commission did put some language in there because the idea behind this would eventually prohibit chickens on multifamily residential zones. The Planning Commission placed a little bit of a provision in there that said, look, if you are an existing single family on a large piece of property, you can comply with the provisions of the code. If it's greater than 7,200, you get 8 chickens.
Okay.
And of course, secondly, there's always the non-conforming. If somebody can demonstrate that they had a certain number of chickens at the time the code was amended, we will consider that.
Good. Cool. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Is there any other comments or any other questions? All right, so the next item on our agenda then is our study session regarding the city's 2014 legislative priorities. We have a presentation from our city attorney, Joe Beck. Joe, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, members of the council. This is the study session regarding the city's 2014 legislative priorities. Annually, the council has adopted formal legislative priorities in order to provide direction and focus to staff to influence legislation on the state level for the benefit of the Bothell citizens. There are many, many issues that could be addressed with the legislature and with our representatives and senators. Council has attempted to focus on the highest priority issues, though, and we believe that timely and appropriate communication with our legislators has in the past proven to be effective, and therefore we bring to you the recommended top priorities and additional priorities for 2014. Normally we make at least one trip, as you know, to the Capitol to address these issues, and so it's important for us to have this slate of priorities to work off of and to present to the members of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The priorities before you tonight have been divided up similar to what they were last year. We've chosen 2 top priorities for your consideration, and we're recommending adoption of these priorities. The first is titled Economic Stimulus and Infrastructure Investment. And in this priority, the City of Bothell would urge the legislature to fund transportation needs, including providing new local transportation options and restore infrastructure funds like the Public Works Trust Fund and model toxics control accounts. And then the other top priority that we have listed is liquor and I-502 revenue sharing. And in this priority, the city would support the restoration of the diverted liquor revenue, which was diverted by in the last session, and retention of existing state shared city revenues and sharing of new I-502 revenues. Currently, the legislature, we believe, needs to restore local liquor revenue sharing to the historic revenue sharing formulas and to provide for a share of the 75% state excise tax on cannabis to be provided to local governments. These are directly related to, we believe, to public safety. These issues, this issue of liquor and I-502 cannabis sales and production, We believe there will be their liquor historically has an effect on public safety, and certainly cannabis does as well. And yet the state shared city revenues have been reduced, removed to a great extent, and no portion of the state excise tax on cannabis has been allocated for cities. So we believe these are important areas for public safety and for transportation. Then additionally, we have listed a number of additional legislative priorities, and I'll just list those quickly. 520 bridge mitigation, annexation and city-county governance transition issues, public records, University of Washington Bothell Cascadia Community College build-out, court security cost recovery, support for the Washington Tech Cities Coalition, and support for formation of a stakeholders group to address the concept of watershed investment authorities. These are almost intact with minor revisions to update them from previous priorities from last year. So we haven't, when we assessed priorities for this year and looking back at them, not a lot has changed since the last session and what we believe the city should be focused on. And so it led to us going forward with very much the same priorities as previously adopted. This is an important act for the City Council to take. In talking with our representatives in Olympia, it's really important for us to have a statement that we can say, yes, this is what the City Council agrees on. These are what's important, and they really do take this seriously and listen to us. So this is an important tool for us, and so ask that you consider these and let us know if you would like changes or additions or anything removed from the list. This is a study session, so this is an opportunity for us to tweak this and then bring it back for adoption in the new year. Just to point out for you, as far as what the legislative session is, it begins January 13th. It's a short session, and we will be hopefully traveling to Olympia and meeting with various senators and representatives towards the latter end of January. So we need to get this figured out and in place, and I welcome any comments or changes that you would like to propose.
Thank you very much. Councilor Ewing.
So I just had a few comments, and then I'm going to take leave to go home and meet the people waiting for me at my home. The first one is one that's on the list, and that's the annexation. That kind of was something where the boundary review boards came in and basically, I think it's outlived its usefulness in areas that are already being planned per the GMA. So I would keep that on the list just to review that boundary review boards for places in the urban areas really have outlived their purpose. The other one that's really missing here is a state transportation funding package. We're not going to get light rail here in Bothell anytime in my lifetime. We're dependent upon the automobile, and we have to get the funding to keep those improvements and actually get capacity improvements, not just continually Band-Aid things. So I would advocate for the 405 corridor and 5220 that we get funding packages to make actual capacity improvements where we're not going to be getting light rail. So those are my comments, and with that I will be leaving.
Thank you. Additional comments? Councilor Spivey.
Thank you. I don't disagree at all that we need to have something said about transportation, and because we won't be getting light rail anytime soon, but maybe providing some provision to continue bus transit services, some sort of funding there also. But I like what's been laid out, and I know that it's very similar to what we've said in the past, and I think that by carrying that message again, it shows our commitment to those things, and we speak as a council by approving this in the future, and in our past by approving our legislative agenda. We're coming down and speaking as a council, which, as the city attorney pointed out, carries a lot of weight, and the fact that we're sending the same message, I think, also carries a lot of weight with them, that these are definitely important things, and I believe they tend to feel that if these types of things are important for Bothell, they're important for the surrounding communities of Bothell, especially things like mitigation due to 520 tolling and things like that. In this process, we're showing our leadership in the North King County and speaking for other communities on these issues also. So I'll be part of these priorities when it comes back.
All right, additional comments. Councilor Evans.
I agree with comments previously stated. On the liquor and I-502 revenue sharing, do we have a location, dispensing location or something that's been, did the state determine where those go, and do we have one in our area?
We don't have any yet because the application process is still in effect. The last time I checked, there was one that was allocated to the city. However, Director Weislogel may have an update on applications.
Thanks, Joe. The state issued a list of applications last week, and it showed 5 with a Bothell address. 4 of those were actually within the city limits of Bothell. And of those 4, 2 were for production or growing, 1 was for processing, and 1 was for retailing. Every one of those 4 applications so far was within 1,000 feet of a protected use, and so could not be approved.
Well, that's good to hear, but that's if they're in our area or close to our area, that's another reason why the revenue sharing should come to us, because we will be enforcing the regulations regarding those facilities. They'll have the impact on our residents and things. So I think that's critical. Just like the liquor, we went from state facilities into every store in the city almost, it seems like, and it's much more available. And there's got to be more problems with that in our community, and I think the potential's there with the same with marijuana. So I really think we need a share of that revenue to provide the safety protections that our community deserves.
I agree with Councilor Evans, and actually that's why I don't support adding a provision of our legislative agenda to ask for additional funding on the transportation side, because I think the problem is the state government looks to us and says, you need to go down and you need to lobby to increase taxes to pay for transportation, and then they get taxes originally that were shared with municipalities, and then they take them away from municipalities. And I think that what we need is a more equitable allocation of the abundant funding that our state government currently receives for its services, both capital and operating, rather than increasing the amount of taxation on a statewide level. So I support the legislative agenda as presented, and I appreciate the work that the city attorney's done on that. Anything else? So we will, Councilor Rayam.
So I have a bit of an update to the last additional item on page 286 is the support for formation of a stakeholder group to address the concept of watershed investment authorities. So that was from last year, and those stakeholder groups did occur, and it also came to the people that were championing this their attention that they are not on the agenda for the 2014 legislative session, so that's probably not likely gonna occur. So I don't know if we can change this. I'd like to keep it on there. I think it's a really good concept. I've involved with a lot of regional stormwater conversations and salmon recovery conversations and flood district conversations, and sadly the true story is that none of those things are communicating right now, and it would make a whole lot of sense if they started to communicate. And but the reason why it's not on the I don't know for sure, but the concern was just as we added to the original statement that we were concerned about the new taxing authority. That's why it got derailed, and it's not going to be in the 2014 legislative session, from what I understand. So, so I'd like to change what we have written here to say, and that about okay. So let's give it a try. So I would say something in the tune of support formation of watershed investment authorities. Bothell supports the formation. Okay, hold on a second here. I gotta flip to a different screen. Something in the tune of the Bothell would support the development of watershed investment authorities that enable cooperative decision making among state, local, and tribal governments to decide and fund the implementation of multiple benefit projects to improve watershed health. And I can get that for you if people are interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in bringing that back for when we vote. If you have additional language, just forward it to the city attorney, and we can consider that then when it comes back for a vote.
Okay. That's all I had. Everything else looks great.
All right, so I think at this time we're going to be going into an executive session. Is that what you were asking to be recognized for, city manager?
Before you adjourn executive session, I just had one matter to raise
Yes,
to council.
go ahead.
I wanted to announce, and I wanted to also congratulate Steve Anderson. This is his last city council meeting at Bothell. Steve's retiring, as you know, and leaving us on December 31st, and I want to thank him for his public service and congratulate him on a great career. He's served us well. It's been a pleasure knowing and working with Steve for these past 5 plus years, and we're going to miss him. So I wanted to publicly thank Steve.
Thank you, city manager, and I'd like to afford council members an opportunity to recognize our deputy city manager, Deputy Mayor Freed.
Steve, what a coup it was when we took you from Kenmore. I don't want to make people over there mad, but we're really glad to have you in Bothell. And the impact you have made has been a very positive one. You bring a positive approach to each different challenge or opportunity that comes before you, and I've found you to be a voice of reason and just a fun guy to be around in general. Thank you for the professional approach you bring your job, but also a sense of, is humanity right? I don't know the right word, just you are real, and I appreciate who you are and all the hard work you've done for the city. Thank you, sir.
Councilor Evans.
It was interesting while I was working at Kenmore. One day my boss walked in my office, who happened to be the city manager, Kenmore then, and he said, I've been your boss for a while. He says, now you're going to be my boss. And I thought, oh boy, this is great. I can really get back at him, But having had Steve as a boss and having had Steve as an assistant city manager has been great. He's been well respected wherever he's gone, and I really have enjoyed working with him. I can't believe this is his last council meeting. We better hold another one just in case we get him here. But he's done a great job for the city, and we really are going to miss him. And wish him well. Hopefully we'll see him somewhere along the road here.
Councilor Spivey.
Great. Well, it's been great working with you, Steve. And Josh, as Josh said, it was a coup to steal you away from Kenmore, if you will. So that's 2 things we've taken from Kenmore, McMinimans and Steve Anderson. So
you're really rubbing it in.
But I really appreciate everything that you've done for me as a council member, and you've been a great asset to the city, and you have made me a better council member and a better person, and I really want to thank you for your time here in Bothell.
Councilor Rayum.
Steve, I think my favorite thing about having you at these meetings is whenever we're in the back and getting ready to come in here, you always say, like, go get them tonight or good luck out there tonight. And it was always a good, because it's not always, sometimes it's serious, stuff that we talk about or feel strongly about. And it just always helped to take that edge off, to have Steve kind of just give that camaraderie before the meeting. So I'm really going to miss seeing you at these meetings, and I wish you the best of luck with your future.
So, Steve, I have so enjoyed having you here in the city of Bothell, and it has been a real pleasure and an honor to serve with you. And I have to say that one of the real privileges of serving on the council is being able to get to know people as human beings and not just as people in government. And as I spent a better part of a decade in public service, serving on a city council. And you're one of the finest human beings that I've encountered in public service. And I think when people think about government, when they think about people who have dedicated their lives to public service, when I talk to other people in other jurisdictions, and when I talk particularly to employees within the city of Bothell, the way that you relate to other human beings, the way that you're kind to other people, and the way that you're good to other people is something that is a great legacy, and it's something that you should be really, really proud of. And I'm really going to miss you. So thanks for your service. So we will be in executive session now, discussing matters, I think of, after something so nice. Is it potential litigation, or is it a potential agreement, or what is it?
Potential litigation and matters of real estate acquisition.
All right. So be it, and we will be in executive session with no action anticipated for approximately 30 minutes.